Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
Boy, oh boy, do we have an episode for you, ladies and gentlemen. It is our 420 special episode. We're taking a week off this week, so we figured, today is a very special day. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, the day it comes out. We figured this would be a great time to talk about some of the trippiest, most mind-expanding games you can play on the Switch, whether or not you celebrate the holiday. These are great games that you can play. We're going to go through a list. We came up with a nice list of trippy psychedelic games for you to play on your Switch. You guys excited for this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah. Also, we're going to list off some games, right? And we've got them broken down in some categories. But like, if there's something that we left off, like a big one, please let us know what you're, or if there's any of these you agree with or disagree with. Let us know.
Yeah.
I know we broke this down a little bit, right? That's the idea. The first step. Does anybody want to explain?
First step is, how do you want to feel? What's the journey? What do you want to go on?
Yeah.
It's that simple.
You have to be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. What are you in the mood for, right? Like, we already know you're in the mood for something weird or trippy or zen, as whatever, maybe that's one way to break it down. But so we're gonna ask the question of how do you want to feel, and we're gonna start with, do you want to get lost, right? Whether that means sort of lost in the world or in like a flow or something like that, maybe. Yeah, so I'll start with so you want to get lost? It's actually a game I've been playing recently for the first time, which is Super Mario Galaxy. Available on the Switch through the 3D All-Stars collection. Man, Galaxy is a little bit of like getting lost in a weird physicsy world of just joy. Just joyful fun, but weird and trippy. And when you're used to Mario moving in 2D or 3D in certain ways, now you're, circling things, you're going upside down, your perspective playing the game is trippy sometimes, and feels odd, but in a good way. Whenever we do our next regular episode, I'll talk more about my experience playing it, but I think it is a great game to just get kind of lost in that way.
And Galaxy has no timer, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no pressure to complete it. So if you do get lost, like, enjoy it.
Yeah. And I also think that Galaxy, maybe more than some of the other 3D Mario games, is clear in your goals. Like, it's not.
There's not like 7 stars per area or whatever. There's only a few.
And it's not like you go in and there's some vague hint either, like I feel like maybe Sunshine or 64 has. You go in and it's pretty directs you to the star.
My favorite thing about Galaxy is that the whole concept of it is very mind breaking. It kind of breaks your brain, like figuring out like how the gravity works and like why things are happening, but it feels 100% natural. Like
totally.
You just go and do a thing, and even though you've never been at that particular kind of gravity well before, it just it's going to work out the way that you're approaching it. It's pretty impressive stuff. Still
it really
holds
is
up to this day. Yeah.
And the one on the Switch is, I think, slightly upgraded graphics. It looks great.
They didn't really do anything to the graphics other than upscale it. And
Okay.
that just shows how great the design already was on the Wii.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. The next game, No Man's Sky. It's a great game, which allows you to explore procedurally generated planets and worlds and harvest resources or set up a base or meet with your friends or shoot some asteroids. It is seemingly endless amount of planets that you can explore. You can just explore the surface of the planets, or you can actually use some of your tools to kind of search through the caves of these planets.
Yeah.
Sadly, this Wednesday on April 20th, I don't think you can play No Man's Sky on your Switch, but you will be able to at some point soon, right? Isn't that the case?
You'll be able to by 420 next year.
But it's on plenty of other platforms. So
this is a game that I don't think I bought this game on PlayStation 4 when it came out for like $60. And I've within an hour realized the game was not really for me. But you're right. This is the perfect game to get lost in because there's just an infinite number of worlds that you can explore. And they all have at least very visually appealing planets. And just going between like planet to space, then flying straight to another planet and seamlessly landing. That's a pretty cool experience for sure. I got the last one on here. This is kind of being a little liberal with the term of do you want to get lost in a world? But I'm going to go with Tetris Effect Connected. Tetris Effect is one of the best games on the Switch, probably the best Tetris game for most people out there. You know, Tetris 99 is my Tetris of choice, but that's anxiety inducing and nobody needs that. Tetris Effect Connected is like a super chill, rhythmic, sonic experience where everything you do in Tetris as you're playing connects to a light cue and a sound cue. And it also kind of explores a lot of the world. All of the different levels that you're in have different themes kind of based on different cultures and different parts of the world. It's a beautiful game, a must-have for any Switch owner, especially if you're looking for a psychedelic experience on the Switch. It's a beautiful thing that really is almost more rhythm game than it is Tetris. But I think anybody could enjoy this game. Also play it in VR if you can.
Highly recommend.
It's not available on the Switch.
Yeah, you can't put on your Labo and play.
There should be. Yeah.
If you have an Oculus or some other VR headset, you got to play.
If you could play Smash in VR, you should be able to play Tetris Effect.
I think you can only watch Smash in VR.
Is that true? I thought you could just play.
I think it's just watching it.
Dang. Wow.
It's weird.
I know you could play at least you could play all of Breath of the Wild in VR.
Which is a nice segue to some of our additional mentions in this category, which Breath of the Wild is one of them. Legend of Zelda. Everyone knows about that game, but definitely a game you can get lost in. And
yes, due
to the systems and like the way everything flows together, definitely you can just spend some time messing around in there.
And then you got Skyrim, grandpappy of them all.
Grandpappy Skyrim.
It's the
10-year-old game.
Then you have Skyrim, which is Breath of the Wild's father.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of rounds out our extra list there of getting lost. But maybe you don't want to get lost. Maybe you just want to or be in a world or get lost in that kind of flow of like Tetris Effect. But maybe you just want to have some mindless fun, right?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is Katamari Damacy Reroll.
I think this is the one game that we all had on all of our lists.
Yeah. It is just such a simple and joyful experience. It's a simple concept. You take a ball and you roll stuff up in the ball. That could be from cats to thumbtacks to people to buildings. It's just a satisfying game loop that's really fun to play. And as you play, the stakes get higher as you roll up, not just one person, but actually groups of people.
And spoiler alert for the next 10 seconds if you care about the story of Katamari Damacy, but you do eventually get big enough to roll up God.
And it definitely fits under the theme of today of being a very psychedelic, trippy, weird experience. Like,
yes,
it's all these objects, but the specifics of them are weird, right? Like, and the layout of them, and
they're all arranged in a house like an I Spy book.
It's so weird, and the music is great, but weird and trippy, and the animations and the story, it's a whole thing. If you've never played it, you definitely have to experience it. Oh, the music is so good.
Got the vinyl right here. It's a
David
Mondo
is showing
collection.
his vinyl. Yeah, let's go.
Honestly, if you've never played it and you never want to, at least watch the opening cut scene.
Yeah, or just listen to the soundtrack or something. Yeah,
because it's so weird.
I mean,
so great.
Just from watching the trailer that I was just showing on the screen, it shows one of the girl characters just stretching her arms into space and saying, "I feel the cosmos."
Yeah, if that's what you're looking for in a video game, then Katamari Damacy is for you. I'll go next. I got another one. Something that I think is kind of slept on the Switch is the Bit Trip series. Most people, I feel, know the game Bit Trip Runner. That was kind of the main game that really took off from the series. But this was actually originally released as a collection of 6 WiiWare games on the Wii that you could download. And they have been released again on the Switch, and they are individual games. But if you buy one, you get discounts on all of the others, and it ends up being pretty cheap. And they go on sale quite a bit. But yeah, these games are amazing. They all have different elements to them. They're all somewhat based around music, and they're usually very, very basic, like pixel art graphics. Very minimalist graphical design on these games. But they all have really interesting and unique gameplay. Yeah, I can't recommend these games enough. I mean, they've been around for forever. So a lot of you have probably played them already, but I think a lot of people that are getting back into gaming in the Switch have probably missed these completely. And if you just want good, fun, arcadey action with a lot of variety and tons of like heart and all kind of focused around music, these are for you. And another fun little thing about these games is if you buy all 6 and you put them on your Switch's home screen and you put them in order, the backgrounds connect with each other of the icons. So that's something that's kind of nice. So I made a group just for that on my Switch. Yeah.
That's a trippy experience. Experiencing the Nintendo UI, feel connected.
Yeah, it's the game with it's the meta game of buying all the games to make one big image. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, Bit Trip series, check it out.
Yeah, and then if you want to keep it closer to Nintendo, something from the big N, maybe check out WarioWare and the latest iteration that's available on the Switch. Get it together. Man, that is some mindless fun and just another weird, trippy game where you'll find yourself yelling at your friend to, like, pluck the armpit hair or something weird like that, or flush the toilet or whatever.
Squeeze the toothpaste.
yeah.
No, you shoot him. No, I'll shoot him. No, you don't shoot him. You jump backwards.
No, that character, yeah. And it, when it starts getting really fast and frenetic is also adds to the trippiness and the weirdness of that game. And
yeah,
another weird series that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a psychedelic trip basically since it came out on the Game Boy Advance, and they never lost their identity throughout the entirety of that series.
Wario is a man who makes games to celebrate the holiday.
Yeah.
We're discussing.
We should have made this episode list the 5 biggest stoners in the Mario universe.
Yeah.
It's Wario.
I think Wario is up there. Yeah.
Wario is up
and
there.
DK also.
Yeah. Bowser. Yeah. Doug Bowser.
Daisy. And then Toad. Anyway, we did it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's move on. I got one more in the Do You Want Mindless Fun category, and that would be Nidhogg 2. This is another multiplayer game. Great game to play. It's a great 2-player game, right? Now, Nidhogg originally, the first one is not on the Switch. That was like a PC, I think, exclusive game. And it's basically like a fencing simulator, right? But it's more like tug of war than anything else, and simulator is not the right term for it, to be honest. But it's a great, fun multiplayer game that's very competitive, but also very easy to go back and forth. It kind of turns into this tug of war scenario where you're trying to get to the other person's goal, but every time you get killed, the other person can then start moving towards their goal. But you respawn really fast. So the game just moves really quickly. And I think a great thing about Nidhogg 2 is that they've given it a graphical overhaul. A lot of people didn't like this new graphic design, but I love it. It's like weird and drippy and gross and still very pixel art, but like very animated, the characters. And so just visually, it's a very psychedelic game. And then the gameplay itself is so frenetic and crazy that you just end up having a ton of fun. So I can't recommend Nidhogg 2 enough. One of the best games for the Switch because it's like, just slap those Joy-Cons off, baby. Put it on the table. Who cares? You're playing Nidhogg.
Nice. And so under this mindless fun category, we have a lot of other quick, brief mentions. Interrupt me if there's any short thing you want to say, but we've got on this list Splatoon 2, a lot of mindless fun and definitely
Speaks
trippy
for
with all
itself.
the ink.
Yeah.
Minecraft, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Fuser, and lo-fi ping pong.
Yeah. Fuser and Lo-Fi Ping Pong, just give them a little bit of lip service. Fuser is like a EDM DJ simulator. So I think that speaks for itself. Made by Harmonix, the people who made Guitar Hero. And then Lo-Fi Ping Pong is like a 99-cent game you can get on the eShop. It's super fucking cheap. And it's just, if you like lo-fi beats, it's basically a rhythm game where you're just like playing ping pong to the beats of these like lo-fi hip hop songs. And it's pretty fucking fun. I enjoy that one.
Nice. So we got one more category that we broke this all up into, and that's the mind explosion, right? Do you want, when you're sitting there and you're wondering what kind of experience you want to have, maybe you don't want to get lost, maybe you don't want mindless fun, maybe you want to have your mind blown, maybe you want to be reborn and have your mind destroyed and rebuilt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for nearly every day of my life. No,
so this is the really out there category.
Yeah, I'll start. I feel like all of mine have been like rhythm themed or music themed in some way, but I'm going to go with Thumper for just a completely mind blowing experience. And it's really just like, maybe you play Thumper if you want to have a bad trip. It's actually what it really is, because it's like very much feels like oppressive and ominous, but it's also completely psychedelic. It's like a really fast paced, almost like mix between a rhythm game and like an F-Zero racing game. But the visuals are just unlike anything I've ever seen. It reminds me of like Flight of the Navigator from the 80s, like the chrome spaceship of that. But then it's all kind of like these lights are just flowing past you at incredible speeds. Great game. It's awesome on the Switch. If you play it, make sure you wear headphones. Also another one that is great in VR as well.
Well, I'll go next on this list. For me is the game Everything. This is an indie game where you can literally be everything, is the idea, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a unique experience that's kind of hard to explain. Well, I guess it's not hard to explain. It's you can move from being any thing to being another thing. A lot of times you're going to be living creatures, but I think you can also be, rocks and speaking of the universe itself, you can transfer sort of your character controller into a different creature or thing, and the way that they move is also very trippy and weird. So like if you're like a deer or something, you don't walk, you just roll.
But you don't even really roll. It's like 4 frames. It just changes your position. And what also makes it kind of mind expandy is not just that you can kind of move up and down in terms of scale and what you are and jump around. It's that the music goes along with like voiceover from Alan Watts. And if you're not familiar with Alan Watts, sort of a psychedelic, but more almost like a Zen. He was like a Zen philosopher, kind of entertainer, writer, speaker. And, so it's these sort of philosophical musings as you explore. And I'm a big fan of Alan Watts, actually, so check out Everything. Yeah, it's
Highly
a crazy game.
recommended.
It's unlike any other game ever made, for sure.
Yeah, the next one is Superliminal. Yeah, might be asking yourself, do I want my mind exploded while I'm playing a puzzle game? Well, Superliminal's your game. It's the world is half Portal, half The Witness, where you take things and you expand them, and the object literally gets larger in your view, and based on your perspective in the game, changes the size of the object. Have you all played this game?
No,
I never have.
I have, I've had it downloaded on my Xbox through Game Pass for a while now, but I just have never found the time. But I hear it's a game you can really beat like pretty quick, right? It's like in just a matter of hours. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's either a 3 or 4 hour experience.
Okay,
Something you can fly by. But some of the puzzles are difficult. Some of them are, and once you solve them, they're super satisfying. Especially as you're exploring this world that gets bigger and smaller at the same time.
Yeah, into it. Yeah, I definitely will play it at some point. It's been on my list forever. I just need to find the right time. Perhaps it's today, Wednesday, April 20th. I'll go next. The last game we have on here for this list is a game that I actually streamed. It's a very bizarre little game called Fatum Betula, which is kind of made in a PlayStation 1 32-bit kind of graphical style. Very hard to describe this game, so hopefully you're watching on YouTube and you can just kind of see for yourself a little bit of what's happening in this game. But it's kind of like a narrative, but it's also sort of a puzzle, and really more of like a riddle and kind of this cryptic poem that you sort of play. And you kind of have to get different things from different areas of this kind of trippy dream that you're within. And then you have to, there are like 8 different endings to the game, and depending on what order you do these things in, like what characters you interact with, different outcomes happen. I know I'm being so vague, and it's because I literally don't know how to explain this game. Like, it is really super out there. This is a game you could probably beat in like 40 minutes if you knew what you're doing, right? But it's also a game that's really easy to get lost. It's a game that completely breaks your brain just looking at some of the character designs and some of the concepts of the game. This is the whole deal right here, this game. The only thing it isn't is mindless fun, because you have to think kind of hard. But I really recommend Fatum Betula, or other games by this developer as well. Paratopic is another great kind of narrative-based, really trippy game with this art style. And I think actually both of them are in a bundle right now and on sale on the Switch. So I would really recommend picking that bundle up for a unique gameplay experience.
Well, we have a few other just suggestions we'll just run through real quickly on this for, having your mind exploded. Another weird, trippy puzzle game is Gorogoa you could check out. Also on our list here is Membrane Infini.
Yeah, Infini?
Infini?
Yeah, I don't know.
Infini,
probably.
And also The Witness, which is sadly not on the Switch, but you can probably find on various other platforms.
That's crazy that game is not on Switch.
Well, yeah, I think that's all we had listed here. There's probably lots of other weird, trippy, fun games to explore on this Wednesday, April 20th. But
2022 specifically.
Specifically.
If you're listening to this in the future, don't take our suggestions.
Yeah,
we don't know. Really, what's only for this day.
Yeah.
So if there's anything you think we left off that was a big glaring omission, definitely let us know. We'll give you a shout out. But yeah, I think that's it for this special episode. Thanks for tuning in. We always like to thank MilkyWay.co for doing our website, and Corduroy for doing our music. And if you're looking for me, Patrick, I am PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got a website, switchheadz.com. We got a link to the Discord and the Facebook group in the description of this video. Thanks everybody. We kind of just wanted to take the week off, have a little bit of an easy week here. We got lots more show planned for you for the rest of the year. We're going to be back next week with a brand new episode, full episode. We can talk a lot also about that news that just broke about the fucking Game Boy emulator they found on the Switch. They got leaked. There's all the shit we want to talk about, but we're going to save all that stuff for next week. So make sure you tune in and then, enjoy the shorter episode. Like maybe now you've got a little bit of time left on your drive. You can turn on the radio and realize how much you missed listening to music while you drive, So, hey, who knows? Anyway, we're going to be back next week. We love you guys. Be safe out there. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.